Alright, this video what I'm going to be doing is just giving another example of using loops. And my idea is I'm going to use user input to actually control a loop this time. And I'll do with a for loop and a while loop just to show you how I can do either style. So let's go with a new project. And new, and we'll call it user controlled loop. And just going to get rid of this. Okay, so I'm going to do two parts. So part one, I'm going to do a loop that goes up by ones. So as an example, maybe the user could do like 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. Okay, so let's start here. So we're going to ask for two numbers. I'm going to ask for a start and an end number, and I'm going to make it go up by ones using a for loop. And so let's try it out. So let's go int start num and end num, and I need a scanner because I'm going to use keyboard input. Scanner input equals new, equals new scanner system.in, and I need to fix my imports here. Okay, so I've got that. Let's ask for the two numbers. Please enter the start number for the loop. Oh, that's annoying. Let's try it again. Please enter the start number for the loop. And we'll go start num equals input dot next int. Okay, so that's the first one. Now let's do the same thing for the last number. Print. Please enter the end number for the loop. Actually, I'm just going to add a colon and a space here, just so it looks a bit better when I actually input the number. I'll put a colon space for each of these. And we can go end num equals input dot next int. Okay, so now I've got both things that I need. I've got my start number and my end number. Now, I'm just going to show you real quick something here. So I'm just going to go with a for loop. I'm going to say int I equals, let's just do 5 for now. And I less than 10, I plus plus, and we're going to print out I. Just something like that. So I just want to show you something. I'm going to make it run from 5 to 10, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to change it using those user inputs. So right now it doesn't actually matter what I enter. I just want to show you what the loop actually does. So I could put not 8 and 100, doesn't even matter. Okay, so my loop actually printed out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so if you notice, this here is actually the start number, right? Because it's starting at 5. We can replace that with this variable. So we're going to replace it with start num. And the last one, this is sort of where it ends, right? So instead of 10, I'm going to put end num here. So let's see how this is going to run now. Okay, so let's do, I don't know, 10 to 20. Okay, the 10 was good, but it didn't include the 20, and I did want to include the 20. So I need to change something here. I'm going to put less than equal to end num and see if it works a bit better. So 10 to 20, and there we go. So this is a loop now that contains two values. One's the start value, one's the end value, and it'll work. If you wanted a loop that goes like downwards or something like that, you can change this to I minus minus to make it count down if you wanted. But there's an example. So you can use variables inside of loops, it's no problem. Let's do another one. So part 2, we're going to ask the user how many times the loop should run. And we're just going to do that. So if it says, if the user enters the number 5, we're going to make it print out, say, hello 5 times, something like that. So let's go with int loop count. I'll create a new variable for this one, and we're going to say system out print. Please enter the number of times the loop should run. And we'll say loop count equals input dot next int. Okay, so this time I'll use a while loop to do it. I could use a for loop, no problem. With a for loop, you'd have to start at 0 and have I less than loop count. That will actually make it work. But we'll do it with a while loop. So if I'm going to use a while loop, what I'm going to do is make a temporary count variable, or I, or something like that. So let's go with int I equals 0. And I can create a new I here. This I, because it's initialized inside the for loop, as soon as you come out of the for loop, the I is now gone. So I have to make it again, or initialize it again with the word int here. If I take off int and I say, okay, the I already exists here, that won't work because the I is only inside of this loop because I created it in the loop. So I have to redeclare it here. So let's go like this. So we're going to say I is going to be equal to 0. Let's continue while the I is less than loop count. And we keep, and then, oops, it's supposed to be a curly bracket. And then system out println, and we'll just print out the word hello. And I need to make the I go up. So I increments with this. And that should work. I might have to put equals on here. Let's find out. So the first one, this is the same. So 2 to, I don't know, 5. Okay, 2 to 5, that worked. Okay, let's make this thing run. Let's try easy one 3 times. It worked perfectly. Look at that. So this loop will definitely work. If you need a loop to run the number of times specified, so in this case I want it to run 3 times, this loop will absolutely work. If you want to do it a different style, you could use a for loop. So I'll do it in a comment. The for loop would basically look like this. I equals 0, I less than loop count, I plus plus. That would also execute the number of times as the loop. So you could use this code too if you want to do it with a for loop. Again, test it out. You know, sometimes you make little mistakes, like this one here. I made a mistake with the equal sign. You got to actually run it and try it and make sure it actually runs the number of times that you want. But this is how you can run a loop the number of times specified by user, and a little bit more of practice here with the for loop. So again, just a little extra video just to help clarify for loops and while loops and how they work and how you can use variables to control them.